Well, good morning. Hey, today we're lucky to have Jamie Petitto with us, and there she is. She's a lady I got to know from making the movie Dark Landings the short. She got to play the mom, but we'll let her talk about that coming up. I'm sure it'll come up with me here. It has. But Jamie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, about where you grew up and how you got into acting, etc.?
Sure. I was born in a suburb of Chicago, and that's where improv was king. And so growing up, I feel like I was around comedy all the time, from doing a kindergarten comedy play all the way through high school comedy plays. Comedy always struck me because I always loved just making people laugh. And then getting into Second City and that sort of thing, just following that and Saturday Night Live. That pursuit took me to Los Angeles. So I lived there for a decade and had so much fun being in front of camera, behind camera. And then I made my way to Washington State in 2015, and then eventually got into the acting scene here. So that's like sort of the acting path from birth till now.
You said comedy. Has that basically been your main thing?
It's my shtick. I love it. It's just sort of this music. There's notes to comedy that I love hitting. To me, that's the art I love to express. Some people like to paint, some people like to sing, and I love to do, write, perform, intake comedy. Yeah.
Was the movie you made with us your first time to have a serious part?
It wasn't the first time, but it was what I think that's probably the most memorable dramatic role I've ever done to date. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll talk more about. It's funny. You told me you were a comedy actress, and after having been with you during Dark Landings, the short, it was like, really? Wow, damn, you did really well at the dramatic part. Wow, I'd like to see you in comedy.
I thought you were gonna say because I wasn't funny on set. Oh, you were you do comedy? Huh.
No, on set you were great. You were always
Oh,
smiling and happy and keeping spirits up. That was never an issue. But it was on camera I'm talking about.
yeah.
Well, now you where do you live right now? You live in Eastern Washington, which is hours drive away from Seattle, which isn't even a huge hub like LA or something like that, of course, but how do you get roles from way out there?
Well, so when I moved to north central Washington, we're 2 hours south of Canada and we're between Seattle and Spokane. And I moved out here to be with my husband, who's a fish biologist. So he wanted to live in the middle of nowhere. There's 68 lakes in the area that I live, like rivers and lakes. We're at the base of the Cascade Mountains. So if you're coming from Seattle and you head east and you head over the Cascade Pass Mountains, we're literally the town that is the first town to greet you.
Well, I know that, but I didn't realize there were that many lakes around. You just don't see them as you drive through.
Yeah, see him. Yeah, hi. Come on out. Come on out, Mark. Come on out, everybody. I got a room. I'll show you. We'll go find him. If you're a fisher person, we're just like dipping in a lake. Yeah, and
Well,
so when I moved out here, I sort of knew that I was going to be giving it up, and just sort of changing my life, because I hit 30 in LA and you're basically dead to people at 30 in your mind as a female. It's such a trope, but it feels real for you in the moment. So I moved out here and was like, I'll just do this as my life now, right? I'm living on a farm and, all that. And COVID hit. And when COVID hit, I just saw all my friends from LA auditioning with self tapes, putting themselves on tape and sending it in because you couldn't go to a casting studio. And I thought, well, I can do that. I still have all my filming equipment from the YouTube show I had in LA, etc. And I submitted to my LA agent, and she's like, well, you do have to be here. So then I just Googled Seattle agents and submitted to them. And I was like, here's a 5-year-old LA reel. I look kind of similar. And an agent bit. And I booked a commercial within like literally, I'm not even kidding you, like that month. And I was like, here we go. I was so excited. So it's been a ride ever since basically, yeah, the beginning of 2021.
you not only live far away, but recently you had a baby. And I have a picture of you very pregnant, smiling with a big profile. And how has that affected you with your acting life and getting cast and doing everything?
Honestly, I did not tell the industry I was pregnant because I was really nervous about it. I feel like unless you're putting diapers in a grocery cart for a commercial, like unless you're trying to sell Huggies, I feel like I just was nervous that I wouldn't be booked for any roles. And it happened when I started showing. I never got another call back. I mean, maybe my acting got worse, but I just never got another call back or booking after that. And it was really, really hard for me. And so the picture you're seeing is because I actually did get an audition for a pregnant lady and booked it and was flown to LA for one pregnancy role. But I was so happy to have it, and it made me just feel it just sort of got the little acting cup filled back up. And it was really hard. And so I actually ended up writing a movie about a short film about a pregnant woman having a one night stand and was able to film it at 8.5 months pregnant. And I'm currently editing it right now with my editing team.
Wow. So you filmed a movie while 8.5 months pregnant.
I did. It was during Thanksgiving break, and I went out to Seattle and I directed it, wrote it, I'm editing it. I, in hindsight, it's a little crazy to have done that, but in the moment, it was so much fun, and it sort of emboldened me, empowered me in the pregnancy, and sort of, I really like acting. I really love my career, and I also really wanted to enjoy being pregnant and having this new chapter, and I felt like that really helped me to like merge the two in a beautiful way.
Hmm. Now, how pregnant were you when those pictures were taken? You look pretty pregnant. Was that when you were flown to LA?
Yeah, that was my LA audition. Was
How
showing
many
how
how many
pregnant I was.
months pregnant were you then?
I think I was like 6.5, 7. Yeah, it was in October, and I had my kid in December. I had my kid
And
6 weeks ago. It was crazy.
and you were even bigger when you made this short movie?
I was, but the weird part is it was very basketball. Like I was still like kind of skinny person, and then just like a basketball. And so the one of the producers was like, I don't even think people are gonna know how pregnant you are. Like you don't look as pregnant as maybe an actual like 8.5 month person. So anyway, it was just a ride.
Hmm. What is the name of this short film that's coming out?
It's called Roundabout.
Oh, that ooh, that's a great title.
But yeah, so and it's go figure. It's a little harder to edit while having a newborn.
Well, tell me about how did you train as an actor? What did you do? Did you go to school for it? Did you just start doing it? How did it work?
There's the high school thing and whatever you can learn from high school drama club that gets you started, or junior high improv class. So those are the things that kind of start training your mind to think that way. And I wanted to go to school for acting, but I was told no by my parents. So instead, I just continued to act in theater while there. And there was just such a passion for it, taking classes there, that I just moved to LA when I was done. And I did it for a film studies program. But once you're in LA, I started doing improv. So I'd have my day job, which was working at a talent agency, one of the biggest in LA. And then after work, I'd go and I'd do improv. And so I learned the craft of comedy and improv and storytelling and all of that basically from college to LA was storytelling, film, comedy, not necessarily miser technique and acting in that way. And so I did all of Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, which teaches you the Herald form, that type of comedy. So that was really it. And then you get a commercial agent because you know people who are repped by commercial agents that do comedy. And I just learned on the job. I learned to blink. I remember that being an issue, is that I just sort of did this a lot into camera and I never blinked. And I remember getting feedback. You take acting classes once I had the commercial agent, then I started taking some acting classes, all comedy based. But that was really my only education. And then just hoping that natural talent mixed with those classes was going to get me in the door.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, one of your pictures that you sent is about bloopers. What's that?
So I auditioned for and booked a hosting role on YouTube. So it already existed. I didn't start it, called Do It Gurl and then See Girl Try. And this was a DIY show for like 10-year-olds, but it was with a company that did the largest millennial focused content before Gen Z was in, the largest millennial focused content in the world. And so this was my first biggest money making acting gig. It was one episode per week, every week for 5 years. I had the job. And so the bloopers was the first thumbnail I could find to send you. But basically, that was the one that gave me a week off because with my comedy, I would mess up so much trying to put something together or get tongue tied. And I just turned that into a blooper reel, made that an episode, and that would give me 1 week off within this 5 year stretch. And we ended up getting 500,000 subscribers by the time that the show ended, that the company ended, the whole company ended, all the shows. And so it was such a ride. It sort of got me on the map. That was when Instagram came out. And so it was when, social media was starting to be picked up for advertising purposes. So it was really exciting for me to be part of what felt like being like a D-list celebrity. We went to the Streamy Awards. We were nominated for that, which is like the not Webbies, but it's like kind of like that. So the blooper thumbnail is just one of many, like 100 whatever thumbnails of episodes that I had.
Well, you did 5 years every week. That's 260 episodes. Did you do that many?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
How long was each episode?
They wanted it to be 3 to 5 minutes, so still like YouTube standards today. If it went a little longer, I mean, the audience was so committed because they were 10-year-olds, with their moms doing crafting together, or so you couldn't have a better comment section, Mark, because everybody was super positive, like I love you, first to comment, like, and then they would do the craft or whatever, and tweet at you or whatever with it. So it was such an uplifting, positive experience, let alone the paycheck or the numbers on the Instagram that kept going up, right? Which was always good for acting. That was the crazy part, is doing YouTube and all that and then getting followers. This was the beginning of acting, casting directors, producers wanting that. You could feel that happening, which now is a standard. It feels like that they check your social media pages, but then it was new. Yeah.
Well, wow, that's a cool way to start. I hope you got a few bucks for each subscriber, but
No, it was a flat rate. I know.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, what about another pictures of you with Weird Al Yankovic?
Yeah, so my comedy connections got me to hosting a lot of different gigs, and one of those was the LA Comedy Shorts Film Festival. And Weird Al was an award recipient that year. They do one big award recipient, and Weird Al was so I was on the red carpet, and he came up, and I got to interview him. And it was super exciting because I feel like Weird Al, like he's been around the block with fame. I feel like he's been asked every single question, like, I asked him, like, oh, if you weren't going to be Weird Al, what would you be today, right? Like, give me an adjective. Or I knew I just Google stalked him to try to find little fun questions that would get him focused in and off guard. And one of them was that I saw that he was the voice on a My Little Pony cartoon, and he did it for his kids. And so I asked him if it was fun to voice that character, and just suddenly his eyes, like he just became sort of human again, as opposed to just like actor red carpety. And it was so fun connecting with him and kind of breaking that, I don't know, to get past the fourth wall and have him actually like look at you and see you. And anyway, so I really liked interviewing people on that. I interviewed Jordan Peele of Key and Peele fame, and Gary Anthony Williams, who's been a voiceover actor for decades. And anyway, super fun.
How did Weird Al strike you? Is he a smart guy or a crazy guy, or what is he?
I feel like he is almost so intelligent beyond measure. It's almost intimidating. He's the type of person that when there's a word he wants to say, he says it right. Like for me, I'll just go home and shower and be like, oh, that's what I wanted to say to that person. I wish I could have a time machine. He just says it like it is. So he was super intelligent, super quick, a little odd, but I think again that's his shtick. It was hard to tell if he was playing a role or if that's just who he is. I don't know. Not enough time.
Wow. I'm going to bring up another celebrity later, just in case you met her when she was on our. Did you meet Maggie Reed when she was there
No,
at Dark Landings? Oh, shoot.
no, only in like a Zoom call. I think when we were all reading the script together.
Oh, shoot. Okay, never mind. I won't bring that up again then. Sorry. Yeah, that was
That's
bad.
okay.
Yeah. Well,
I got to live in LA, so and I worked at a cafe that was like my first day at the cafe. Joaquin Phoenix walked in and ordered a smoothie. So I've seen many a celebrity.
But
that's awesome.
You've interviewed them. That's different. Well, okay. Well, let's go on to Jungle Run. Now, Jungle Run. So you were playing Jane and Tarzan or something, or what was that?
Jungle Run, that was so crazy. That was like right when I was looking for an agent. So I was here in the middle of nowhere, Washington, and a friend of mine on Facebook was like, "Hey, who's local to Florida?" Because COVID was still happening, the vaccine wasn't even out yet. And he said, "Who can act local to Florida? I'm directing a film." And he's from LA, and he was going to go out to Florida for a movie by The Asylum. The Asylum did Sharknado. That was what got them on the map, and they started.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Sharknado just cracks me up. I
Oh
mean, the
yeah.
whole thing, it's just so ridiculous. It's great.
If you like that, Jungle
oh,
Run's up your alley. They do mockbusters. So, like Jungle Cruise with The Rock and Emily Blunt was coming out. And so, what they do is they write a script based sort of on that idea and they try to like get it out at the same time so people will watch the mockbuster version of Jungle Cruise. So people will be like, "Oh, you were in the one with The Rock?" I'm like, "No, no, no, this is with the people of Sharknado." So, it was just super fun. It was super fun to do. So, my friend was like, "Yeah, come on out." I auditioned, but got it. And so, I flew out to Florida and filmed a feature film that's on Amazon called Jungle Run. And it was with a cast that, like, it's so weird to be like, it's legit, but it was incredible. And those actors are still in LA and booking things. One of them just booked Shrinking. Anyway, so they're all, yeah, working actors. And it was so fun to film a feature film during COVID. I felt so lucky to get out and to, yeah, it was, all shot outdoors and all the whole thing. But
nice, nice.
yeah.
Yeah, wow. That is, you were lucky in that respect. I mean, no one got to do that during COVID. But
Yeah.
okay, moving from Florida, let's go to the Idaho picture.
Yeah, so this is back. I had my agent. I'm in Seattle. I'm auditioning, and interestingly, or ironically, I wasn't a mom yet, but I get mom auditions because I am in between the 30 and 40 range. And so, what do you do during that? You audition for moms a lot. And so I was auditioning for a mom, and they're like, "Oh, if you have a baby, feel free to use it," which I did not. So I called my friend who had an 8 month old. I'm like, "Hey, can I borrow your baby for this audition?" She's like, "Yeah, sure. We're not doing anything." This was 2021, so COVID still, vaccine. So then I auditioned and I got a call back, and they're like, "Bring the baby." And I was like, "Hey, I think I just got a call back because of your baby." And so we had the callback, and she doesn't have her baby be in front of screens, and the callback was a Zoom like this. So the second we were playing on the ground, and the second my callback was ready, I like bring the baby up, and she looks at the screen and is like, ah! Like she was so excited to see the screen of people, and you could just hear all of these people on Zoom go, "Oh," they were all, "Oh," and so I mean, I don't even know. I think I booked it because they wanted the baby, and so my friend and the baby and I got flown to Boise to do a chat books commercial, and it was so much fun to have that experience with my friend and to book, of course, a commercial and be flown out. You feel very cool.
Wow, wow. That's one of the nicest stories of borrowing a baby I've ever heard. You know,
And then I post, of course, you post anything you book, you want to post so that way people think you're always working and they want to book you again, right? And so when I posted it, a friend in LA said, "Oh, could I borrow your baby sometime?" Like thinking it was mine and thinking I was still in LA because that's how social media works. But I was like, "What?" Yeah, that was a pretty funny response.
well, another picture you sent was about yes, you may put your nose up now and start to speak more formally because it's a best acting picture.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm an award-winning actress. And it was for the 48-hour Seattle Film Festival. I had done a monologue at a Seattle Film Summit, and a director saw it and asked me if I wanted to be part of his 48-hour team. I'm like, "Yeah, of course, let's do it." And it was awesome because they screen all of these films in a theater, in a movie theater, so you get to see yourself on the big screen. And then at the end, they have voted awards. There's judges' awards, audience awards. And they name 5 people, and then you sit there, and when they say your name, it's kind of cool. I mean, it's like my little local Oscar because you don't think they'll say your name, and then they do, and then you like, get up and you pick up your certificate. You like wait. I don't know. It felt super cool. I
So
mean,
for
my
what
picture because I was super excited.
for what movie was this?
It was called Rock Bottom, and it was a mockumentary comedy, and it had to do with like rock skipping competition. So you write the script on Friday. They just give you prompts. Like you have to say this line, have this type of character. And we wrote it all Friday night, filmed it all
Oh,
Saturday.
that's right. You said that. It's a 48-hour movie. So
Yeah,
it was very quickly done.
very quickly done. And I
Mm.
played the host of the rock skipping competition who was over it. The host was like, it was like a really fancy country club that they were doing this at, and she's used to hosting the Kardashians, but this year she's hosting like a stupid rock throwing competition, and so she just slowly gets drunk, which is hilarious.
Mm.
Or so they thought.
Well, you did know that Dark Landings won some awards and you were a major actor in that. So I hope you have that on your resume somewhere.
Yes. Yeah, I'm super proud of it because it's not comedy, as we mentioned. It is very, very not comedy. So that's new for me and very exciting when it, yeah, has accolades.
Well, first, I'm going to show on screen a picture of you and Kelsey Sprague, you with a big smile and Kelsey working on your hair behind you. Can you talk about that and how it felt to be made up to look like this diplomat's wife in the 1970s?
Yeah, it's sort of a segue, but I feel like when I do comedy, you're just yourself. Like the characters on Friends are playing themselves, saying these lines. And in a drama, you're becoming somebody else entirely. You're not you. You can find things you relate to in this person in order to embody them, but you're being somebody else. And so to have my hair and makeup done and to have wardrobe that was actually true to the character of that exact time and to put that all on, it really sort of gave me the confidence, like putting on this mask to be able to perform. I felt like it was the last missing piece. So I was just beaming because every time she'd do another curl or put on another earring or whatever, I just felt like I was transforming into the person that was needed. I was becoming her, a real person. Yeah.
Hmm. Now we have a picture of you and Tim Guran and Katie. And so it's like you and your husband and your child. How was it working with those people?
It was so fun. Tim was great. It was my first time meeting him, but there's something in an actor's eye. He just, again, you're no longer talking to Tim. So talking with Tim and Katie as people is great, but the second the camera's rolling, it's just transformative. He took it just as seriously as I did. Even between cuts, we're still locked in. It wasn't like, oh, okay, anyway, what's up? And okay, let's get back to acting. Like it really was, we are in it. We're taking this seriously. This matters. This story matters. And same with Katie, who just locked in and played her role so beautifully, so easily, it felt like. I was just honored to act across both of them. I felt like I learned a lot from it too.
There's another picture we have of you and Tim in front of that gorgeous window with that view out there and that very powerful scene. How did that one feel while you were making it? That's some of the best photography, especially when remember when they hung out the window.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
hung out the window and were filming you from this awful porch out there that looked like it was going to collapse during a rainstorm. And they're 3 feet away from you and you're pressed against the window to say your lines. And they're out there hanging out there with the camera. And I'm sitting there going, we're all going to die. I mean, it was really, really interesting scene. But well, talk about that one if you would.
Now I feel bad because I feel like being in actor mode, I didn't even notice that camera outside. Like that's how in it I think I was. Like now I feel bad. I'm like, oh my God, people are about to fall off a cliff. That was the hardest scene I think I've ever filmed of anything I've ever booked because, and I know this sounds, I don't mean this literally, it's just the best word to come up with in this moment. You have to be slightly sociopathic to be actor. You have to become somebody else and believe that you are somebody else and just be somebody else. And to me, I'm a little bit myself in comedy. And so to truly let go of Jamie and become this person who has taken pills, is drinking, is depressed, whose daughter is seeing very scary, believable visions, and is trying to tell her husband, who barely pays her any mind, all of this. And we had, what, the scene was a minute, maybe, that you have to convey this because it's a short film. So it was super tough. You need to lock in. There were tears, you need to build up this true emotion. And for me, I had to think of something very, very sad to get to that point over and over because they yell cut. Then they go do your close-up. So when they yell cut, it evaporates a little bit, but then you have to bring yourself back. It was very taxing, very hard, and very rewarding to execute once it's so draining and so tiring and so it was so hard to let go of this person, but then it's really healthy to do so because she was it was so sad of a person to embody. Anyway, it was so hard and it was so rewarding.
Well, part of the reason that film won awards is you did such a good job at it.
Thanks. Yeah, I haven't. I just can't watch myself. I don't. It was really fun to have played it, and I don't know. I think yeah, it's just hard to watch because you're not seeing yourself, and I didn't want to overanalyze. Like, oh, did I do a good job being her? It's like, oh, I'd rather just know that it felt right and that it's doing well.
Well, one thing I noticed about you was everybody loved having you on set. You know, you were a great person to have around. You were positive and helpful and friendly, and you showed up knowing your lines and ready to go, and all of that was appreciated. Is that generally how people see you, or can you be a pain in the butt sometimes?
I hope that's how they see me. You know, what's odd is that there was a friend of mine in LA and he's made it now. He has like 4 million subscribers and he's like a YouTube celebrity, whatever. But he's so confident that on set, I was working with him and he'll come up, he's got opinions. He has ideas and they'll do something. He's like, the person would be doing this. And he's really in this character, but he's pushing some buttons from some people because they're accommodating his requests and taking another take because he wants it. And I'm not good at that. I don't do that. So I think I really want to roll with the flow of the director. And I remember on Dark Landings, there was one moment that I was trying to get those tears back and really just take a second. And I was like, can I just have 10 seconds? And the AD actually started counting down from 10, going like, okay, 10, 9, which was like, no, don't count out loud. But I didn't want to say anything to them. Like, no. Like, I didn't want to Christian Bale the situation where you just like yell at them and be like, no, I want silence. And so I'm trying, it was, in a weird way, it was so frustrating to hear the countdown that I actually got emotional about it. And then I used that. So I think I do go to set with all this trust in the director. And I want them to know that I'm taking it seriously. I'm always memorized for sure, or a little bit of improv. I'm not fully memorized. I know what I'm supposed to get to by the end line. A little bit of it.
Well, you brought up the director. So what was it like working with Sandra Scragg as a director? How was she to work with?
She's the best. She's the best. She was so good. Talk about if you want to say like, oh, or is somebody kind on set? She was like the perfect mix of personal and professional because she saw you as a person and then she needed to see the actor. She needed to see the character, and you could just see that transition when she yelled action, what she was looking for. So she was focused, she was fast, she was friendly. I would work with her again in a second.
Wait, I don't like it when it's on me. I like it to be on you. So I'm going to switch the view back to the gallery view. You know, hey, there's one picture that you sent that we didn't mention earlier. And that is Modern Family. So tell me about Modern Family.
That was like the role that I mean, it was a national television show that won Emmy after Emmy. It was it was like the Friends of that time. And so I had seen a breakdown in LA looking just for a redheaded actress. I'm redheaded. And I submitted and we had an interview and then they booked me and I had to get down to Fox Studios the next day, super early in the morning. And in the makeup trailer, I'm getting my hair and makeup done. I was the first one there. I was like way too early. Talk about being like punctual, like you're saying, like I was way too early. And then an actor came in, got his hair and makeup done, and he turns to me, he's like, hello. And I turn, I'm like, oh, hello. And he's like, I'm Ty Burrell. Yeah, I know who you are. Ty, yes, hi, I'm just nobody. I'm just a person you'll talk to for 2 seconds. And he was so nice. And Eric Stonestreet, who's won an Emmy, was in that. And so we had a scene together, and it was just Ty Burrell, Eric Stonestreet, guest star Rob Riggle. And then the guy that played my husband was actually in real life Ty Burrell's assistant in real life. So it was really a closed set of just all working actors. And then like Jamie's there. And so for lunch, nobody went to their trailers. They all hung out, and the whole day just felt like this little buddy team. And as we were going back to set, or back from set, I was actually saying that I was going to leave. That was the last role I'd booked before going to Seattle. And Eric Stone Street turns around. He's like, "Girl, you cannot leave. You're on Modern Family." I just remember that, like, dear diary, Eric Stone Street told me to stay in LA because you're on Modern Family, and so it was just such a beautiful moment. And then of course the episode comes out, and then I'm getting texts like, "Oh my God, is that you?" And I still get texts because it'll re-air or someone's binging it and they see me. And this is 10 years ago now, and it's still my favorite moment. Like the way Maggie Reed has Seinfeld, and she has a million things. She's working a ton, but I just mean like she has that, and I have Modern Family, and I just I'm so grateful for it. It was one of the best experiences that I had in LA acting wise.
So, what are your goals coming up?
Yeah. So 2025, I would love to book as consistently as I did in 2023. I was going to Seattle booking really almost every month. It was fantastic. A whole slew of different things, short films, commercials, NDA signed internals, with whoever. I just made balloons pop up. See, it was celebrating my 2023 year. And then 2024, I had a lot of bookings until my pregnancy, until my belly started showing. And so I'm really excited now to have this beautiful work-life balance. I really would like to get back into Seattle as consistently as I did in 2023. And I want to do it while having this cool new chapter in my life of being a mom, which is weird calling myself a mom. It still doesn't feel like it. And hopefully he can get into it. He's pretty cute. I think I got a little bit. So who needs my friends? Who needs to borrow my friend's baby anymore? I got my own now. Yeah. So that's what I'd like to do for this year. I'd like to keep up the same momentum that I've had of being, oh, that funny redhead Jamie, or just getting out there, meeting new people. Seattle's such an amazing industry, so much smaller than LA. You don't see the same person again in LA except at auditions. At auditions, you see the same people because you're up against them almost all the time. Here in Seattle, it's like, oh my gosh, there's Ty again. There's Phil. There's Mike, the camera guy. Like it's the same, and it feels like you're seeing your long lost cousin again at the holiday dinner, So my goal is to see all those same people again, to meet new people, and to keep connecting in the industry, and to do that while also balancing being a mama.
How does that work with your child? Does your husband take care of them at home, or do you bring the child along? What's the child's name and what gender? Please tell us, show a picture, do something.
His name is Argyle,
Mhm.
and that's only in my camera feed right now, so it'll take me 2 seconds to show you a photo. But how do I show you the cutest photo that ever did cute?
Well,
Um,
you could send it to me and I could put it in.
okay, I'll do that. So his name is Argyle. He's a he, and he's 6 weeks old as of this recording. And I've had two auditions since then. One of them was actually through Sandra because she was looking for identical twins on a rush call. And I know we're identical twins. And she's like, "Oh, you would have been maybe fun to audition for this role." And I was like, "I could try it." And my agent even texted me the next day. She's like, "You want to don't you have like a 2-week-old baby?" I'm like, "I do. I'm crazy." And so it was a ride. I mean, I didn't book. I'm not surprised, and it's totally fine. I don't think, yeah. But so for the two auditions I've had so far, I've had all of those friends that said, "I want to help. What can I do?" I was like, "Oh, I know what you can do. You can come over right now and hold my baby for like 30 minutes." And so they do. They hold the baby, and I quickly do this, which I did here today. It's the prettiest I've looked in a little bit. And I quickly audition and then feed the baby, and then edit the audition and feed the baby, and then send in the audition, and then sleep. So that's how it's gone so far. I am hoping as he gets a little older, that process will get easier each go of it.
Nice. Now, is there any advice you could give anyone about acting? Is it a good thing to do? Is it a crazy thing to do? Should they try it uh, even if they think there's no hope or they're too old or whatever? What would you say to them?
Oh yeah, if you have again, people that want to paint, they just have to paint. People that are poets, they just have to write. If you have to act and that's why you want to express yourself, then you got to do it. And it's a lifelong thing. Characters our babies and characters are 99 years old. So it's a lifelong sport that you don't have to age out of ever. Um, if you want to act, you could just be in your local community theater. You don't have to be famous at acting. You can still embody somebody and have your community come out and support you and see you as you play this role. And so for Seattle, yeah, you can do it so much faster, get to know everybody so much quicker, get films done on your own. You can fund them. Restaurants. For the Roundabout film, I directed. A bar let us film in there for free. Good luck doing that in LA. It is such a great film community up here in Seattle. So people like Lynn Shelton and Megan Griffiths, like you can really make it. I mean, Megan is at Sundance right now out of Seattle. So yeah, you can make big moves out here too. So yeah, if you're an actor, keep acting. If you're not finding a role, you're waiting around for an audition, write something. Write the role you want to be in, like Glenn Powell did for Hitman. What an incredible role, and he wrote it for himself. I just can't get behind something like that enough. Yeah, learn editing so you can put yourself in the stuff you filmed. Like, learn it all so yeah, don't just take Meisner classes, which is super important. So when you're on set, you're doing the right job, but learn the film circuit so you know how the storytelling works and what's needed of you.
Okay, well, thank you. Is there anything else I should ask before we sign off on the interview? Anything? Hey, Mark, you should have asked this.
I guess not. I guess.
Well, I have one little thing then. What are your hobbies besides acting and raising your child right now? I mean, probably you love to go out and play with fish, but other than that,
I'll let my husband play with them fish. I'm good. I'm good. We're like yin and yang. Hobbies wise, I'm a runner. I love going out for a long run and listening to a podcast, learning while I do it, kind of like reading in a way while running. So I like reading, I like running. I like writing. I don't consider it acting to write comedy sketches. I think that's just an art that I like to put out. And then lately, the last 6 weeks, my hobby has been momming. It is all my time, always. Hard to go for a run right now with a newborn and snow on the ground where I live. So yeah, outdoor recreation is a hobby, reading is a hobby, and being with my baby.
Well, I know you did a really good job for me reading some screenplays for me, which I really appreciated. You went through them and gave me some very good notes, sometimes strong notes, but worthwhile notes. That was much appreciated.
Woo. One of my first jobs in LA was working at ICM, which was a talent and literary agency in LA. And I had to go through all these scripts and tell my agent if it was worth making into a actual movie or not. And so I had to edit scripts and make notes on scripts. And so it was such an honor to be asked to review and look at a script, and I take that very seriously. I think it was so fun to see your words come to life. And the Mythos Murders, I don't know, I'm just so excited to see the lines that you wrote spoken. I just think it's going to be super cool.
It's getting close to being finished, thank goodness. I'm really, really excited too. But hey, thank you so much for being here today. And for sending all the pictures and for all of your wit and wisdom. And now people will get to know you. And if they know you like I know you and like the people who've worked with you they're going to want to call you up immediately. So all you casting directors out there, here she is, so.
Cue the balloons.
Right.
No, did I not? Okay.
No, well, I don't know, probably because I'm on gallery view now. But hey, well, thank you very much.